Welcome to the before.
I'm attaching the pine boards to the studs. I find the studs with the stud finder and the measuring tape. In my case, they are 16 inches from each other, so all I have to do is find one with the stud finder and then use the measuring tape. I repeat this process twice and mark 2 dots apart from each other on each vertical line that represents the stud behind the drywall. Since there is only one possible straight line between 2 dots, running a chalk line between the 2 vertical lines guarantees a straight line.
Now the rest should be easier because all I have to do is just put them one on top of another. So I'm taking one. And just putting it. But I need to be careful of the crown. Here I have a crown and bow. Always have to be crown up.
I'm using coil siding nailer, which is much more delicate than a framing nailer and has bigger nails than a finish nailer.
Тебе не кажется, что надо кусок вырезать и заменить? И посмотреть, что там внутри?
Не. Оно затекает сверху, вот отсюда.
Я не говорю, я знаю.
Okay.
Я говорю, что с той стороны камни в этом месте. И доступ у тебя сейчас только из гаража. Чтобы ты из гаража можешь так вырезать, посмотреть, если что, заменить.
Там ничего нету, нет, там чуть-чуть, иначе бы все сгнило нахрен. Не, и воняло бы.
Ты же не знаешь.
Я знаю, видно и не воняет.
Но у нас в доме тоже ничего не воняло. И было гнилое совершенно.
You just witnessed me being in complete denial. All I wanted is to finish this wall, make it beautiful, and forget about it. Luckily, I have an awesomely supportive partner, one that's saying what's on her mind, and by that, we solved and avoided a huge disaster in the future. Let me show you what I mean. I started by tearing up a small part of the wall and the damage was visible. One joist was hanging in the air. I had to continue opening more sections to see how far does it spread. At this point, there are already 2 joists hanging in the air. Those joists supposed to hold the wall from falling. I continued tearing up the wall.
So let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 joists hanging in the air. And still the wall does not collapse.
The damage extended to the bottom plate and the sill plate, so I had to replace both.
Now I'm going to do the same thing here. Please notice that I'm cutting till it doesn't really matter, but I'm not disturbing the part that hopefully holds this wall together. I did the same thing on the other side. You see, it's not straight, it doesn't have to be straight. The new piece will reach till here.
Just for your information, the blade on the right is for wood and the one on the left is for metal.
This is supposed to protect the treated lumber. supposed to. Now I can put the treated lumber and then flushing. And I'm going to mark the location of the solid concrete for later use. So we have one here and one here. And the reason I'm using 2 boards instead of 1 is you see where it ends, so it's only 6 feet. This way I will be able to anchor it in 2 locations instead of 1. And this is treated lumber, 2x6. Make sure that the crown is up always.
The flushing will separate the treated lumber with the non-treated. The Tepcon screws will anchor the treated seal plate to the concrete. I'm bending the flushing by hand and using metal scissors for cutting. This form will go above the seal plate.
I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, which is there, and then I'm going to place the long sheet.
I use the silicone to prevent water penetration and use the small flushing piece between the treated seal plates connections for better waterproofing. Ideally, if I hadn't had this almost wall collapsing scenario, I would have used only 1 complete flashing piece. Now that I look back at what I've done, I should have countersank the Tepco screws. This would have provided level surface for the bottom plate. Now that the treated seal plate is installed, I can start aligning and installing the non-treated bottom plate.
Now I want it to be exactly in the middle between the joists, so I set it there in the middle, and here I'm marking the location, the middle of this. Means I need to cut 4 inches or 10 centimeters. This way it will be exactly in the middle and the weight distribution will be equal. Framing nailer, 2 3/8 nails. I'm using exterior nails because I'm using treated lumber, and here I placed it 4 centimeters. Not exactly, but around 4 centimeters from the end. I just copied the existing structure. So I have gap here and here. If you do it on your own, try not to make the nails on the same line, because this will split the wood. So make, for example, 1 nail here, 1 a little bit upper, and then again down, up, down, up. So I did down here, now up here.
As you can see, this requires a lot of different tools. I chose a line which is above the rotten common area and cut per it. And then came the rain.
I think I got it on time. I have to cut those little pieces so they will not be in the way when I will work from the outside. It's probably to keep the wall closer to the house, I assume, not to fall to the other side, I guess. Anyhow, I'll just cut it. Never move with the instrument on. You can die, trip, or cut yourself. So don't. So usually what I'm trying to do with the length of the nails is by choosing a length that will reach to the middle or so of the next piece of wood, not more than that. For example, if you have something like this, you can see that it's too much. For the bottom, the nails that I'm going to use at the top are fine. Yeah, they will go in an angle. Let me try and show it. For the bottom, I will drive the nails in an angle. Otherwise it's just impossible to reach it from the bottom at this stage. So it will go in an angle and reach somewhere to the middle of the next piece. I don't really want it to penetrate and go, I mean, it will be an overkill, but you can do something like this. Then it will penetrate two pieces of wood and go also to the treated one, but I think it's an overkill since I have already fastened this piece to the treated. But my point is, always use nails, or always check before using any nails, otherwise you will just bend them if they are too long, or just ruin your work.
I'm using a square and a level for the replacement joist parts. I used two pieces of non-treated wood on each section and attached both to the bottom plate. The first piece is longer than the second and is used as support and connector, while the other one completes the previously rotten joist and transfer its weight to the floor.
And now I have a small dilemma. I don't know if I should make maybe all those four first, finish them, and then go to the other two, or just remove all the three and finish with it. Why there is a dilemma? Because the wall can collapse. I don't know what was holding it, but obviously those two can be removed. I'm not sure about the one in the middle. So it can be a total disaster, or not. Let's see, I'll think about it. Also, another reason for the dilemma is, and also it can be solved by adding concrete, but I don't want to do it. So you can see that the bottom plate, the treated one, is anchored to the concrete, and I still have concrete here. The other places are void, empty, nothing. And here, because this is the bolt. So even if I will put the bottom plate, let's say till here, I will be able to anchor it only in one spot. And I think that it's important to concrete it in two places in case of a tornado. This way the house will be anchored to the bottom and not fly away. I mean, it can still fly away, but what I'm trying to say is that this bolt is crucial, and it's better that the bottom plate will be anchored in two places instead of one. So let me think about it. Let's see.